Welcome back, everybody, to yet another episode on KoBMC Photography's channel. That's me! What do you know? Anyway, this video is going to be an in-depth look at the actual image quality of the Neewer 5-stop ND or variable magnetic ND filter. So it's the one that's got the magnetic attachment, which I showed in my previous video of the overview and unboxing. But the question did come up if there's any purple fringing or any, what's the sharpness like and things like that. So for every shot I'm going to do as a comparison, I will take a shot with no filter, then I will mount the filter and we will compare the actual image quality. Now, what I've decided is, as you can see, the trees are still, there's no leaves on them. And this is the worst conditions to be doing this because the light is super strong. But all back there, as you can see, there's just a ton of branches and a lot of very, very, very high contrast. So if there is any purple fringing, that's where it's going to show up. So got the K3 Mark III with the 1650 PLM mounted, and we'll just take some shots. So I'm going to start with no filter mounted whatsoever. I'm at 1/1250th of a second at ISO 100, f2.8. Usually purple fringing will arrive when the lens is more wide open. At least that's been my experience. So let's just see here. All right. Yeah, there will be some blown highlights, but that's fine because I'm just trying to push this. Now, time to mount the actual filter. Let's get this bad boy open here. Open nicely. There we go. And yes, the hood is reversed because I'm trying to give this the absolute worst case scenario possible. Instead of going through each and every single step for this one, I'm just going to shoot ND2 and then straight over to ND32. So basically it's a 5-stop filter. So it starts at ND2, then goes to 4, then 8, then 16, then 32. So that's 5 stops. Okay, here we go. Let's see what the settings are. So should be 1 stop down, I believe. Yeah, so 1/640th of a second at f2.8. And then let's go all the way to 32. And we are now at 1/50th of a second, f2.8 at ISO 100. And we'll compare those images. Now I'm going to move over to another spot and do some more testing in regards to the image quality. All right, so the next location is actually going to be one of my favorite spots. It's just completely and utterly open water as far as the eyes can see, at a very, very, very high point within this conservation area. So this will be interesting. Morning. Yep, and there's always people around in these parts, always. From early morning to afternoon, evening, it just never stops. Friendly people. I actually like it here. It's a lot nicer than the big city. So yeah, I also brought the 55-300 PLM, which is in my pocket, just in case I do come across some wildlife or anything like that, so I can swap lenses and do some of that shooting as well. And just to let you all know, you have been challenged. Dun-dun-dun. You have been challenged to a nighttime photo battle. Yes, thanks to Jeff Moore, who devised this idea. It also includes myself, Jeff Moore, Lee Iverson, and Lee Hayes. So we'll be submitting our own images for this competition / battle. And Jeff Moore is also opening it up for all the subscribers and viewers of our individual channels. You will have to actually look at his video to get the lowdown on all the requirements and how it all works. I did make a post on the community side of my channel, but I know a lot of you don't actually look at that, so figured I'd throw it in here as well. So good luck to everybody. Little doggy. Good luck to everybody, and it doesn't matter what brand you're actually shooting with. So it's not PENTAX specific. If you have a Nikon, Canon, Sony, Panasonic, Fuji, Leica, Olympus, Kodak, PENTAX, yeah, you can go ahead and enter. Anyway, let's get back to my original video. Okay, actually, before we get to the big place with huge amounts of open water across the lake for as far as you can see, it's like the edge of the world, it's like water world. It's awesome for, you know, sunrise, sunset kind of shots. But anyway, we're like coming up to midday. Actually, not even. The sun's incredibly harsh right now for this time of day. But anyway, just behind me here, you can see that there is a stream or creek, and it carries all the way over down that way. Now what I'm going to do, the water itself, it's not super choppy, but it's not exactly glass smooth either. So I actually just thought, you know what, there's been many times where, you know, you go to shoot something and, you know, the water's just a slight, you know, the tide is just a little bit on the wavy side. And let's see if this ND filter can smooth that out. And I wonder what happens to the reflections when you do that. So let's just see what happens. All right, so remove the filter to get the base image here. And we are at 1/1250th of a second, f2.8, ISO 100. And again, I'm not going to run through the entirety of the filter here. I'm just going to go ND2 all the way up to ND32. And now we are at 6/40th of a second at f2.8, ISO 100. And we're going to go all the way to 32. See what happens here. And a belted kingfisher just flew by. So I may actually switch lenses and try to capture that while I'm out here. That'd be nice. That'd be pretty cool. And I'm gonna do one other shot here to increase the shutter speed to really smooth out the water here. So let's go to f11 at ND32. So that's 0.5 seconds. And we'll see if that smooths things out. Yeah, it looks actually kind of weird. Yeah, it's sort of, I mean, it's smooth, but the reflections are kind of broken, and it just looks very odd. Very odd. I guess that doesn't work. Okay, so I'm actually going to hang out here for a bit and see if I can get that belted kingfisher. And then after that, we'll resume the video, and we will go over to the water world location. Well, looks like the water world shooting is not going to happen today. Reason being, just got a call from my daughter. I need to go pick her up from school, so I've got to conclude this outing anyway, not the video, because we still have to look at the images. But I did do another one. So I initially started this with the first series of shots, which were shooting into the light. So what I did was I reversed that, and I was shooting with backlight against a clear blue sky, high intensity contrast, to see if there's any purple fringing along, you know, that type of scene. And we'll just take a look at the images and see how they are, and I'll give you my final thoughts and conclusions. Also to note, I did do some other shots with the clear plastic lenses for the headlights of my car, and kind of interesting. I'll show those and discuss that as well. And there is a slight bit of color cast, but it's very easy to fix, even in camera. Just change the white balance a couple spots over towards the blue, and that's pretty much it. So I compared the pricing against Nissi, K&F, and this is the most economically priced magnetic variable 5-stop ND filter you can buy. So there you have it. Okay, so let's take a look at the images. Now, in regards to vignetting, this image here on the left is the as it came out of the camera, pure raw. So there is some vignetting and color shift just here in the top left corner. Now as we zoom in, you'll notice that there is some purple fringing straight out of here. You can see it all along some of these top branches and along here, like it just, the colors are off. However, it looks like it's actually reduced. The right side is ND2 and it is actually reduced, which I was not expecting whatsoever. The image is actually better with the ND2 filter. Obviously, you know, the camera can correct for that, and as well as in post, once it's processed, it's easy to correct these issues. There is a slight color shift where the ND filter is just a tad on the warmer side in regards to how the image came out, so there's a bit of extra saturation. Now, let's go to ND32, and unfortunately it looks like the camera did not nail focus as it should have, so when I zoom in it will be blurred. However, with that said, you'll notice it is a much warmer image, and again, remember this is also front lit. You know, so it is a much warmer image. However, the top left, there isn't as much of a shadowed top left corner, and as we zoom in, yeah, it's going to be hard to tell, but there is no purple fringing along any of here. I don't know if it's because it's slightly blurred. However, the color shift, you know, more to the warmer side, it is still easy to fix in post. It's not that big of a deal, but there is a color shift in the image. So now let's go to the backlit scene. Let's just turn this preview thing off here and load these ones up. And remember, these are all the DNGs right out of camera. Okay, now let's go to ND2 and see how these compare. There we go. So again, more of the same. There is a slight color shift, and there is some vignetting here in the corners, both in the out of camera DNG and out of the ND2 DNG file. As we zoom in, it looks like image depiction, sharpness, it's pretty much spot on. You know, there's no, I don't see any real purple fringing anywhere. So it's actually did a pretty good job of ND2. Yeah. Not bad, not bad at all. Let's go to ND32 and see what happens here. And you'll notice, again, massive color shift way over to the warm side of things. So it's not producing that crazy purple color cast that I was mentioning in my previous video. This leans way more towards the warm side of things. So the yellows, you know, more on the yellow spectrum. Again, not a big deal to fix in post, and I don't know of any variable ND filter that does not produce some form of color cast. However, the quality is still there. It's still, I mean, you know, the sharpness is still there, detail's still there, micro contrast is still there. You know, it's not that bad. Okay, let's go over to the other folder here. Let's go back and we'll go to the river reflection and let's load that up. And this one is a little interesting. Let's do the comparison here. So here is, on the left again, is the original image with no filter, and on the let's go back one. Okay, so let's... Alright. That's the original. Okay, that's the original. Now let's do the comparison. So on the left is the on the left is zero filter. On the right is ND2. So as you can see, there is a slight bit of color cast. Again, you know, it's going to be like this for every single image. And actual image sharpness and everything seems to be pretty much the same for both. It's just the colors shift more towards the yellows. Seems to be the major difference. And the water seems almost the same. I mean, there wasn't a huge change in the actual shutter speed, so I wouldn't expect this to change all that much. Now let's go to ND32, and here's where things get interesting. So ND32 actually produces a CPL effect. It actually cuts right through the water. Look at the left side here, and just along this section in between the reflection of the branches for the trees, the water is completely reflective and you can't see through it. But then on the right side, if you look at the ND32, you can actually see through the water and you can see some of the rocks appearing right in between the reflections of the branches here in the trees. And it is warmer on the ND32, however, it doesn't seem to be as warm as what was produced with the ND2. The ND2 seems to have a richer saturation than the ND32 in this specific scenario. And it could just be the color of the brush is what was, you know, changing the color rendition. But I just found that very interesting. And now let's go to the longer shutter that I took here to try to smooth out the water as much as possible. Well, not as much as possible, but just more than before. And again, you can see the rocks all in between these the reflection here of the branches of the trees. But you can see the reflection is still kind of odd. The water is smoother, you can see right through the water, but the reflections are broken up. Not as much as the original image, but it is still an odd looking reflection due to the smoothness of the water. So the super long shutter speed, it doesn't quite work the way I was hoping. I mean, the reflection's a tad bit better, but it still looks very ghostly and bizarre. Now for my car, that was another interesting one here. Okay, let's load this bad boy up. So this was ND4 on the right and ND2 on the left. And you'll notice right along the headlight housing here, it's got this weird rainbow effect at the very, very top. However, colors aren't too far off. Car is leaning more towards a slight green hue. Let's go to ND6. Oh, sorry, ND8. I don't know why. I'm always thinking like 2, 4, 6, 8, but it's ND2, ND4. So we're now at ND8, and you'll notice the rainbow effect is still there again. Let's go one more down. So this is ND16, and the rainbow effect is still there. It doesn't seem to be as pronounced. It's a little bit less than before. There is a slight color shift if you look at the grass here at the top right compared to the ND2 image. And also, looking at the reflection in the windshield, you'll notice the windshield is a bit different as well. On ND2, it seems to cut right through, or ND8, it seems it's not quite cutting through as much. And again, now there's less of a rainbow effect here, however there's more reflection in the highlight. Yeah, so it's quite interesting. You know, and there is, as you can see in the sidewalk, there is a slight color shift once again. And here on the right side, the right image, you'll notice there is purple fringing right along the seam for the door. So there, you know, I guess in extreme circumstances where it's a very bright subject with a darker background or an extreme highlight, then you may end up experiencing some purple fringing. It is easily correctable in post. It's nothing that's, you know, absolutely insane. You know, but that is how it is. And here we go. So this is the original. Let me just switch these around here. Okay, that's better. So the original image that I had shot, let's just do the ND16 comparison here. So yes, on the left side is the original image. So you'll notice there's no rainbow highlight or anything here. It's very, very, very minimal purple fringing along the door pillar. However, looking at the ND16, you'll notice that rainbow hue, very, very, very slight warmer color temperature change. It's nothing crazy. You know, it did hold the colors very well. And this was a JPEG that I tried to do some correcting on. So I did do it was a little bit too much on the cool side. However, it looks more natural compared to the orangey tinge. So this is a better rendition in regards to the color temperature. But again, like I said, it just takes a couple of dots on the camera itself to actually look at changing or correcting the white balance. It's not a big deal, easily correctable in post. I did this in camera by just knocking over more towards the blues in regards to the white balance. And that is really all there is to the image quality.